And that's what it looks like. You
welcome.
see?
I have been on television in the last 20 years.
Yeah, we know.
I'll let you know.
We know that, but it worked better as a link.
Okay. All right.
You have been very busy, but when we were looking back at the the information about Dawson's Creek, I mean, you were playing a 15-year-old at the time, but you were 20, weren't you?
From what I remember, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
And what would you have imagined now that we'd still be discussing it all these years later?
No.
Really?
In fact, no. I have. No. It's you know. No.
I mean,
I would not imagine that I'd be sitting in front of a picture from 20 years ago.
Yeah, that'll change in a minute. Don't worry. We'll change that to something much more.
So it gets a little uncomfortable there. And to be fair, I'm sure that it gets a little old hearing about that. But it is what made him famous and really launched his career. Right. And I know there are so many fans of him because of that show that you can't blame him really for talking about it, right?
Right, and especially when you're overseas, you know, too. So maybe they haven't really, that crowd or audience is not as up to speed as the American audience would be. But clearly he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. But I will tell you, I remember him playing the lion in Wizard of Oz back on theater at Cheshire Academy.
Yes, so there you go.
We can bring that up too if we want, James, but I think you'd be more mad about that.
That's a good point.
But he looks
Miriam
good,
finding the silver lining for him.
Yeah.
And I think I can understand that with a lot of stars. It's funny, it made me think of a story a while back when a friend of mine, we were vacationing somewhere and he actually ran into, and I'm trying to think of his first full, Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Oh, yeah.
His first name is Alfonso something. So there was a guy in the restroom that saw him and started imitating the Carlton, and he was really set off and wasn't proud of that. And he made the comment and has been in the news for not wanting to talk about that all the time. So I'm sure if you're that person, that's all you ever hear about, and maybe you feel like your other accomplishments aren't being
recognized. And I think they probably do feel like they owe a debt to that's what got them off, you know, but at the same time, they want to move on, and they grow up. It's like Miley Cyrus, you know, it's like these Disney stars. You see why they all go a little cuckoo, because it's like, you only want to see them in this one way, and they grow up, and they grew in their career, and they grow up as people. We don't really want to grow, we want to keep them one way, you know, in your mind. So, I mean, I guess, I don't know, we didn't make it that big yet, Steph, so I don't know, I haven't been in that situation, but.
Well, speaking of growing up, we've got a couple seconds here. I wanted to share the cast of Buffy. Were you a fan of that 90s show as well?
I didn't watch it loyally, but I do like it. I know they did some remakes on it, too.
It's been 20 years since that show, and they've actually gotten together for a reunion, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you're a fan or were a fan of the show, it was the entire cast. They even had Sarah Michelle Gellar there all together. So that's trending right now as well. And it's funny, we were talking about Fresh Prince earlier in the week and the reunion that they did. So I guess Aunt Viv, here's a follow-up to it. Aunt Viv, she played Aunt Viv in the show. Apparently, she's got some dirt on the show, and she said that there will never be a true reunion, and she wasn't going to be a part of that. So
it's funny what you find out after the fact, too.
Right? I know.
And it's kind of like better that we don't know it while it's taping, because then maybe you would have
wrap
a bad
it with
taste.
a bow and leave it with the memories that you had. I don't know. I want her to dish on that dirt. I want to know what's going on.
What do you have, Aunt Viv?
Fresh Prince. All right. Coming up next, nobody messes with Boss Baby. Up next, see the pinchable cheeks of this fun film and find out if our movie critic says whether or not it'll have you cry. That's next. And later, they leave a trail of glitter everywhere they go. How the Glitter Foundation is adding sparkle to the lives of people in our community. Stay with us.